Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I am Hendrick Gideonse of Brooklyn, Maine. An awful lot of work has gone into this. I appreciate that. I'm not sure today whether I'm Hendrick Gideonse or Don Quixote or Don Corleone. Last Friday came the Chapter 200 rules and the 85-page basis statement. And that's the basis statement is what I'm responding to here today. Due diligence, look in my hand. I have been through it 3 times since the Friday afternoon. We find ourselves in very much the same position, you members of the board and me, a public advocate. You are unpaid volunteers. That's the same status I enjoy. Your charge is to provide informed, independent, and timely decisions respecting interpretation, administration, enforcement of laws pertaining to environmental protection, and to provide for credible, fair, and responsible public participation in department decisions. I try to live up to those same obligations in my public advocacy. But how can you do your job and I do mine if we can't trust the materials in front of us? That's a very heavy statement, but let me repeat it. If we can't trust the materials in front of us. Today's proceedings come under the provisions of the Maine Administrative Procedure Act. The board is preparing to adopt the written statement explaining the policy basis for the rule. You're obliged to identify the names of the persons and organizations submitting comments and providing summaries. The agencies asked to address the comments and concerns, state its rationale for either adopting or failing to adopt proposed changes or drawing findings and recommendations that may differ from those advanced. In preparing the statement, the agency may synthesize similar comments and concerns, but it must accurately reflect the meaning and intent of the submissions. Now, you all know that, but there may be people in the audience who don't appreciate the specifics of those obligations which you all are operating under. You've given us a chance to address you orally, but instructions were clear that nothing written would be accepted without the permission of the chair. Consider, though, these 9 categories of shortcomings that I found. I'm not going to give you the documentation, although I have it. The biggest singular and overarching flaw in the basis statement is that it completely sidesteps the highest priority shortcoming of the rules, namely that good rules cannot be written on a deeply flawed statute. You have explicit authority to address that shortcoming in whatever detail you wish, but so far you've been silent about its exercise. That can only be seen as a major omission. Second category, it's the kind of the other end of the significance scale. 2 other submitters are identified as the contributors of points I know I presented to the board. I looked at their submissions. They did not say the same thing I did. Third category. In between shortcomings of vastly different scale are many others. I've had to do this kind of analytic work that MAPA requires over and over again in my professional life. Nonetheless, there are 6 other kinds of basis flaws that should not have occurred. For example, at one key point in the basis statement, a point advanced by the submitter was misstated, incorporated that distortion into the heading for that section, climbs all over the point that wasn't made, and ignores the core concern that was raised. Fourth category. The basis statement presents 3 numbered sections sprinkled widely throughout the title, Support for Revisions. Tell me when I'm 50 seconds short and I'll jump through this listing. This approach of identifying support for revisions gives the impression, mistaken impression, that there were in fact more comments about approbation than actually existed. Fifth, other repetitive sections within the basis could have been combined and addressed in concert, as well as simplifying the process of citizen or legislative oversight. That's an editor's comment. not crucial. Over and over again, though, sixth, the rationale for not making requested changes was either explicitly or implicitly, we have the statute and that's what we're sticking with come hell or high water. Seventh, in too many specific instances, the agency responses are simply unresponsive to the points advanced, either ignoring the issue or advancing arguments that are off point or obfuscatory, if that's a word, or presenting analysis that is contradictory. Eighth, in at least two instances, promised changes in the rules failed to make it into the new draft, although I know there's notice that there's a whole new one out. And a third point that was raised was ignored, with the result that the technical error identified still remained in the latest draft, the latest one being the one I downloaded on December 30th. Finally, there are instances of material in the basis statement that simply don't belong in a basis statement because they don't pertain to the rules per se and or are otherwise inappropriate. I'm done categorizing what I found. My summary conclusion, after spending 4 solid days on those documents, is that the basis statement before you has been insufficiently vetted for you to act on it today. Chairman Parker, my remarks have been abbreviated. I categorized 9 types of flaws. Color-coded documentary detail illustrating each of those 9 categories is prepared and available. Should you ask me for it, I have a copy of same and would be pleased to leave it with you. And I should add that anyone behind me or at the table who wants to receive a copy, just write your email on a piece of paper and hand it to me before we all leave, and I will see to it that you get it in 24 hours. Would you like to have what I've prepared?
Thank you, Mr. Any questions?
I see no, but thank you.
Would you like to have what I brought?
Not at this time, but they can give you their email address if they want it.
Now here comes the Don Corleone part. Are you really certain that you don't want to receive the due diligence that I, as a public citizen, have undertaken to do the homework necessary to appear before you with any kind of sensibility today?
Board consensus?
That's up to you, sir, according to the rules.
I'd say at this time, no. Thank you.
The die is cast. Thank you very much. However, that doesn't apply to all of you. I will take the email requests.
Okay, before we get started, there's one thing I'd like to mention to Hendrick Gideonse. Hendrick, can you hear me?
I can.
In your testimony, you said there was some information provided that was attributed either to the wrong people or incorrectly attributed. You had some information on that?
I do.
Could you please submit that to the Deputy Commissioner? So she can get the record straight if that's...
I gave.
Okay, she already had,
I
okay,
gave
good.
copies to the 2 government employees
Yeah.
who are most important, the commissioner and the legal analyst to the board.
Okay, that's all I
So
wanted
they
to
do
make sure I
have-
had the opportunity to do, because we'd like to have the record straight on those questions.
Thank you very much.